The deep blue sea is a source of endless fascination. And while you might think that you need to travel to the hidden depths to see amazing things, turns out there's magic even at the surface. If you want to know exactly what's going on with this magical blue glow, plus even more illuminating content including a living gummy worm and a self-eating snake, get ready to dive into your latest fix of things you will see for the first time in your life. Sometimes there's nothing better than kicking back with a cold, refreshing soda after a long morning at work. But I'm pretty sure I'd think all the bubbles had gone to my head if I saw this.
As abelhas se juntaram para roubar o meu refrigerante. E elas vão conseguir, cara. Ó, a brisa. Malditas!
These two bumblebees were captured working together with astounding intelligence in Sao Paulo, Brazil in May 2021. Working together on opposite sides of the cap, they successfully twist it up and push it over the top of the bottle. Considering bee brains are less than 2 cubic millimeters in volume, smaller than a single grain of rice, how the heck did they figure this complex task out? Well, it turns out bees are actually a lot smarter than you might think. Their ability to solve problems involving basic yet unfamiliar tools was proven in 2017, when a group of scientists at Queen Mary University, London found out that bees could be trained to drag yellow balls into a goal in exchange for a sugary treat. While this learning ability was impressive on its own, the scientists also found that the bees were able to teach one another how to get the sugary reward. So it's possible that's the type of collaboration going on here. It's possible one of the bees was merely trying to lift the lid upwards and inadvertently happened upon the correct twisting opening method, then communicated with his bumble pal to lend a hand. We'd better be careful. Before long, we could have a crazed army of bottle-opening bees on our hands, threatening peaceful picnics everywhere, with an unquenchable thirst for orange soda. If you've got an insatiable sweet tooth, the thought of a gummy treat is sure to get your stomach rumbling. But this next clip might make you think twice before popping one in your mouth. This little jelly treat is actually a caterpillar, and I can assure you, as much as those grubs in The Lion King might look oddly appetizing, you definitely don't want to chomp down on this fella. This particular species is a member of the Olona Limacodidae family, a group of moths noted for their slug-like caterpillar form. Despite this little guy's looking like he's made of candy, you might just stop salivating when you find out what these features really are. That glossy jelly shine is actually a lubricant made of liquefied silk that the caterpillar produces, and its gelatinous-looking skin is laden with tiny little stinging hairs that you definitely don't want to lick. When you're a kid, there's not many things better than a trip to the zoo. But one kid got a bit more up close and personal than he'd planned at the Dublin Zoo.
Because he's hunting.
So stay. Sean, stay.
Look.
Big cats, like lions and tigers, are ambush predators and like to attack their prey from behind. So turning your back on a big cat can trigger a predatory instinct to move in for the kill. In this case, the full-grown Siberian tiger prowled towards the unsuspecting 7-year-old, and boy does he look hungry. Thankfully, it looks like the luck of the Irish was on this youngster's side on this occasion. Well, that and the thick wall of glass. While relationships can be a little complicated between man and beast, many people feel that dogs are man's best friend. But if this next clip is anything to go by, that loving, trusting friendship works both ways.
Close.
Die beiden Herren sind von der Kripo und würden ihn gerne.
Meet 28-year-old student Florian Beck and his 4-year-old Australian Shepherd, Morty, a man-dog double act who are simply pooch perfect. Performing a perfect trust fall in April 2021 with this kind of training talent, it's only a matter of time before Florian trains Morty to catch him. From puppers to snakes now, and if these slithery creatures make you uncomfortable, I'm not sure whether this next clip is going to make you feel better or worse.
Alright, so today this king snake successfully swallowed himself.
While you might have nightmares about being bitten by a snake, I'll bet you didn't realize that snakes have to worry about the exact same problem from their own jaws. In the wild, king snakes like this one will hunt and eat each other, and occasionally mistake themselves for food. This kind of confusion is usually down to a temperature issue. If a snake gets too hot, like the rest of us, they can get pretty disorientated. To their overheated brains, a rapid flick of their own tail can be enough to trigger an instinctual dinner bell. And once it's latched on, getting free isn't easy. In fact, trying to pry a biting snake off itself can do more damage than good. Luckily, the man behind the camera manages to get the snake to let go of itself through a surprising method. Check it out.
Alright, so today this king snake successfully swallowed himself. I don't know how long he's been like this. He's still alive, but I'm just going to use some hand sanitizer and see if this will get him to undo what he's done. Yep.
That liquid he rubs on the snake is actually hand sanitizer. More effective hand sanitizers contain a high percentage of alcohol to help them kill germs. And it turns out snakes aren't the biggest fans of the taste. Wow, I've been in some pretty rough states after a night of drinking, but unlike that snake, I can safely say I've never thrown myself up. As the saying goes, if a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, all I know is they can certainly make quite a ruckus on suburban street corners. Check it out. Whatever ruckus that tree made when falling in April 2021, the only sound heard in that SUV was undoubtedly the shriek of someone who just had a brush with the Grim Reaper. Almost becoming entangled in a tree-fic collision in Durham, North Carolina, the driver passed under the tree a split second before it crashed to the ground, bringing down traffic lights and electrical lines in its wake. With Lady Luck clearly taking the side of the SUV and its owner, I sure hope they stopped off to buy themselves a lottery ticket after this. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but this amazing over-the-shoulder artwork might just leave you speechless. The talent behind this reflective work is Isaac McDonald, an artist from Ottawa who mainly specializes in oil painting and being a complete boss when it comes to art in general. Painting his own portrait using a mirror, this kind of picture doesn't just require artistic talent. It's an exercise in precise hand-eye coordination. And to think, I can barely wave to someone over my shoulder without falling over. Moving on to the world of fashion now, coordinating the colors in your outfits can be a chore. But what if I told you there was a shirt out there that could change color? Over the course of a few seconds, the shirt goes from blue to green to red to purple. But what's responsible for this color conundrum? Well, visible light is made up of different wavelengths, which provide the array of colors we see, ranging from red to violet. The colors we see in the object we look at are a direct result of which wavelengths are reflected back to our eyes, or back at the camera lens, in the case of a picture or video clip. So, as the flashing lights change color in the club where this shirt video takes place, it prevents certain colors from being visible at certain times, as only the colors of similar wavelengths in the shirt are reflected back, creating a sort of evolving filter. Even so, this Joseph in his Technicolor Dream shirt seems to be none the wiser that his shirt is taking the cameraman on a psychedelic journey, leaving the one question we're all wondering. What actual color is the shirt? Well, judging by this frame where we can see both red and blue, the colors which cancel each other out through the rest of the clip, I'm going with red and blue plaid. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Staying on the theme of mind-boggling color, manipulating the spectrum of light doesn't get much trippier than the abilities of one deep-sea creature in particular. Many octopi and members of the cephalopod class more generally are capable of changing color and texture like this, and it's truly astounding to watch. This chameleon-like ability is made possible thanks to special substances under the octopus's skin. Among these substances are cells called chromatophores, which contain tiny sacs filled with pigment, including black, brown, orange, red, and yellow, and muscles that contract and expand the pigment sacs. When the sacs of pigment are stretched, the color inside becomes more visible, and with millions of chromatophores working collectively, this can form all manner of patterns and colorations on the octo's skin. This couples with projections on their skin called papillae, which can change shape to create textures ranging from small bumps to tall spikes. But how do octopi know how to mimic their environment? Well, bizarrely, octopi are believed to be colorblind. And though there's no universally accepted theory, some researchers have argued that the mimicry process is semi-automatic, carried out almost like a reflex by other specialized cell receptors that detect brightness, polarization, and color of reflected light that surrounds the octopus. This information is then fed back into the pigment cells, which adapt to reflect the surroundings or flash intimidating colors, or even to create a vibrant hue to attract a mate. Much like wearing that color-changing shirt we saw earlier. I wonder if that guy attracted a mate too. The ocean is a weird and mystical place, and while a lot of mysteries still lurk beneath its depths, turns out you don't even have to go knee-deep to see something otherworldly. Please do not adjust your devices. I assure you this dazzling clip is totally authentic. This neon blue glow in the ocean is caused by millions of single-celled bioluminescent algae called Noctiluca scintillans, more commonly known as sea sparkle. When disturbed by waves, currents, or indeed a human foot, these tiny life forms emit a flash, illuminating the water around them as a defense mechanism against predators. While it might seem like an impossibly rare phenomenon, you can actually witness this bioluminescence all over the world, including Halong Bay in Vietnam, Springbok Park in Australia, and around the San Juan Islands in Washington, USA. Summer and autumn are usually the best times of year to catch these aquatic light shows, as Noctiluca scintillans tend to be more active in the warmer months. But whenever you go, be sure to send me a video at stories@beamazed.com. From one dramatic water show to another now, in September 2021, tourists at a marina on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, were lucky enough to spot a lone alligator catching some rays in the water. But little did they know that there was something even bigger on its way to say hello.
That's hilarious. Oh.
capturing an encounter between unlikely adversaries, with the shark attempting to nibble into the alligator's leg. It just goes to show that even the scariest of predators can occasionally be eyed up for dinner themselves. Based on the shark's size and coloration, it appears to be a deadly tiger shark. So while things didn't escalate into an aquatic battle royale this time, I can't help wondering who'd have won if things had turned ugly. Cast your votes and place your bets in the comments below. And while that last face-off ended amicably, one scuffle captured between a wasp and a cockroach wasn't so friendly, and wrapped up with one of the greatest twist endings you'll ever see. Check it out. I guess we should feel thankful that we weren't there to put a bet on the outcome of this clash of critters. Well, at first, it looks like old Waspy's got this one in the bag. Our concealed, scaly spectator decided that was enough and delivered the finishing blow. Talk about dinner and a show. From one lethal lizard to another now, take a mental note never to mess with this little fellow.
Every time.
No, that wasn't a deleted scene from Jurassic Park. That's a wildlife photographer being mercilessly hunted down by a frilled neck lizard. While exploring the Kimberley region of Western Australia, Ricky McKenzie stumbled across this frilled dragon in the middle of a dirt road. After trying to help the little guy out of harm's way, the 18-year-old got quite the shock when his new friend gave thanks for the rescue by turning on him. All that's missing here is a reflection in a wing mirror and Jeff Goldblum. While real dinos are very much extinct, there is one magnificent mammal out there that makes us feel like we are really walking with giants. And best of all, they're adorably curious.
Hello, don't take my phone.
These happy campers got quite the surprise when an unexpected visitor stuck its neck into their outdoor adventure. This is Gambit the giraffe, and he's made quite the name for himself around the Mansfield Wildlife Reserve in the Eastern Cape Bushveld of South Africa. Frequently greeting visitors in person, this giraffe is one gentle giant. While Gambit might be friendly at heart, these campers are still careful to keep their distance. Giraffes' kicks are so powerful that they've been reported to have decapitated lions in the past. So if you do invite one over for ghost stories and s'mores, don't get on its bad side. Your head might end up on an express flight to the heavens. A lot of little kids dream of being able to fly, but how many of them do you know whose parents actually made that dream a reality? At just 5 years old, this little girl joined her dad for the ride of a lifetime. Her old man, Alexandru Stroria, is a highly experienced skydiver, and while taking his little girl along for the ride may seem kinda crazy, it looks like this dad is raising quite the fearless young lady, given that she barely even seems fazed. I'll bet that made for quite an interesting story for her class when she went back to school on Monday morning. While Alexandru made sure his daughter understood the thrill of adventure from a young age, this next thrill seeker proves that it's really never too late. Most people celebrate their birthday with cake, but one amazing 90-year-old decided she wanted a heaping slice of life to mark her special day. Meet Margaret Wesson, who celebrated her 90th birthday by jumping out of an airplane. This gusty grandma of Woodville, Wisconsin, waited especially for the occasion to do something she'd always dreamed of, but never got around to. And honestly, I have nothing but respect. Margaret touched down on the ground overjoyed, safe and well after her skydiving experience, and lived happily to the age of 95, when she passed away in January 2020. While Margaret waited for her 90th trip around the sun to make a jump headfirst out of a plane, every day can feel like your birthday if you like this video and subscribe to be amazed. What with all the epic content and all? So go ahead, grab life by the short and curlies before it's too late, and hit those buttons if you haven't already. Now, while Margaret was most definitely young at heart, it looks like there's someone out there who's discovered a magic potion for real eternal youth. The ingenious barber behind this enchanting transformation turned one man from a senior into a stud with a drastic hair overhaul. Aside from the impressive dye job, the barber uses a powerful, skin-safe adhesive to attach new hair to his client's scalp, bringing that hairline back from the brink of extinction. De-aging from 77 to 27, it seems pretty obvious that age really is just a number. At least it is when your barber's this good. Which of these amazing sights impressed you the most? Ooh, and do you have an amazing original clip you'd like to share with me? If so, send it into stories@beamazed.com and you could be featured in an upcoming episode. And as always, thanks for watching.